Hi guys, this is Naomi Smith and I really want to welcome you to my YouTube channel, Home Inspired. It's my desire that this channel would impart vision and grace to you in your journey toward home. I really hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, so we've been potty training for the last 3 days, so this is me in my potty training look. Nothing too glamorous. But I wanted to get on here and just share something that I find very encouraging, which as I've thought about the book of Daniel, and I've thought about the man Daniel, that man was used in such an amazing way by God. I mean, his faith only grew and his influence and platform only grew in one of the most pagan, sinful cesspools of humanity, Babylon. I mean, it was a representation of all things sinful in the Bible. And, he was taken against his will. He was likely castrated. He was enrolled by force into the king's enculturation program. And, no one would have faulted that guy for just, being absorbed by the culture. No one. I mean, hey, I'm done for. I'll get a little pleasure out of this, and then I'll die. Like, I mean, no one could have faulted him for being angry with God. Like, that's not good, but it was a lot of trauma that he went through. And I find it amazing and intriguing that Daniel was so strong in his sense of identity that even after all those things had happened, Daniel still resisted the offer of the king's food and asked for basically vegetables instead, with a sort of pledge of faith that if we don't look better after 10 days, then we can do something different. Like, that takes a lot of faith. And it's amazing to me that his faith was so rooted. And so, I've just been thinking about, like, where did that come from? Where did Daniel's faith come from? Well, I'm sure that it came from his culture that he came from, but I'm sure that it came from a home that was very intentional about building his faith inside of him. And so, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in Daniel's house as his mom and as his dad taught him about the ways of God, taught him about the stories of God, even referred to them. I mean, those were his aunts and uncles and great grandpas, and that was his family. Like, that wasn't just like the people of God were his family. And so he had this sense of like royal being chosen, identity that enabled him to stand in the face of major trauma, major brutality, and to trust God. And that's what I want for my kids. I want them to be able to, just love Jesus, like in the midst of resistance, in the midst of persecution or whatever it is. Like, I want them to be able to just stand and love Jesus. And that comes from a strong root of like a sense of history. Like, you have a legacy to steward. Like, the wealthy, the way they think about like legacy is that it's a stewardship. It's not building a legacy necessarily. It's been built. It's a stewardship. And I wonder if Daniel was given that kind of perspective about his life. Well, we have a legacy. No matter where we've come from, we have a legacy to steward because we are grafted in to that same family as Daniel, and we've been given Christ. So we actually are like what all the saints were waiting for. So we have this incredible, but how do we get that identity into our children? How? I have a lot of questions about that. I don't have a lot of answers right now. I have a lot of questions. But if you have insight, I would love to hear it. I just know that I'm on a mission to be intentional about helping my children have a sense of their history, of their past, of their legacy that they are called to steward. The momentum over the ages, the revivals, the moves of God. Like, my goodness, we have so much to steward. The history, church history, we have so much to steward. And so it's a question of how do we steward that legacy? How do we teach our kids to steward that legacy? So those are my thoughts for today.